Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Harness Tube. We're at the Logan County Fair for the second day of harness racing today at the Logan County Fair in Lincoln. Steve Surratt, David Brink, and our camera person, and the person we can't do without the most, David Lisa Surratt, over on the camera as we get ready for the second day of racing. We had 7 races for you yesterday, and we have 9 for you today. And so with that, we welcome you to today's post time is 1:30. We've got a lot of things to cover as we get started here. And David, I'm saving some of this because I know we'll pick up viewers for the topic we're going to talk about a little bit later. But again, one of our biggest things out there is for you to subscribe, like, or follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And those are really important tools for us to be able to get some specialty items from YouTube. Not pay, but things like our personalized site for YouTube and things like that. So we need you to follow up and do that. David, tell them about From the Backstretch. That's one of our favorite things that we like doing during the broadcast.
Yeah, you know, it's getting interactions with the fans and the fellow horsemen really does kind of bring this community feel. I got a Facebook message last night from Gary Northrup saying he appreciated the broadcast. It made him feel like he was still involved in the horse racing. Gary got out probably 5 years ago, I think, or maybe somewhere around there. He's a Carrollton native. You know, to be included in, you know, in the sport and your, you know, the family, the friendship of what we are as, you know, horsemen in this state really meant a lot to him. And I think that's kind of been the resounding sentiment from across, you know, the fan base is they appreciate feeling included, and that's all based on interactions with us. So we'd love to hear from you, any thoughts, anything like that we can kind of, you know, touch on or answer for you or whatever. Just give us a shout. You know, you can reach me at my email, or you know, you can reach me anyway. At Facebook has the Harness Tube links there, or my text if you have my phone number. But
okay, well, and boy, you name from the past. I mean, we talked about it. You know, in the '80s, I was involved because of some people that were involved. Gene and Marcella Northrup. Moley was his name, and I remember Gary from those racing days, so that's a blast from the past for me.
Gary and his father Larry bred some horses themselves and happened to get homebred that was a nice horse, Winchester's Best. They're from Winchester, so I think Larry was. So the horse was named Winchester's Best and set some records at the state fair, and they had a lot of fun. Had a good old mare they kind of got to breeding to her, and they had some fun in it, you know.
Well, let's do a nostalgia day on Backstretch.
Yeah.
Today being nostalgia day, tell us the horse, driver, or trainer that you remember from the past that's no longer racing that maybe got you involved or got you excited. So we'd like to hear some horse names from the past. David probably remembers some of them. If not, we can do some research on them. But those are the things that I think a lot of fans are interested in, is where was this sport in the past? We've got older fans like Gary that are not able to get out and be involved like they used to be.
But when they're looped in, they're just as deep as they were. You know, they just still love it still as much.
So Gary, if you're out there today, we want to hear from you today. You know, maybe a horse or whatever, maybe his favorite horse that was in his stable.
Yeah, and you know what? I was thinking on the way over here, Lisa does such a great job and really is the most important aspect of this whole production, because without Steve and I, if the camera's on, that was my original idea for Harness Tube, was just go ahead and point the camera at the track so that horsemen had access to the races. It's evolved to the commentary we've got now and the graphics and whatnot. But Lisa's vitally important, and what she's been doing lately I've been picking up on is she's pointing the camera at, you know, she knows where the action is at, and that gives us topical stuff to talk about. You know, if I see a horseman leading a horse out of the barn on the backstretch, I can share a story about, you know, this fair 10 years ago when they were here or something. It really adds to the product. So, you know, we love hearing from you. We love, you know, any kind of interaction. If we see you on the backstretch, if you want to, you know, give us a text or whatever, we'll talk, you know, talk to you. So.
Okay, we're going to take a station break. We'll be back with probably a real important topic after we get done with the station break. Thanks for watching and listening.
Midwest Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news, information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate. We've changed the way the business works.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
Come join us for the 25th Annual Illini Classic Yearling Sale to be held on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield. Over 180 yearlings will be offered, including many by leading sires across the Midwest, as well as several by first crop stallions. It's one of our strongest catalogs ever. Find your next champion at the Illini Classic Yearling Sale, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, beginning at 11 a.m. Central.
Back with you on Harness Tube as we get things set back up. Well, we ran a little longer commercials as we had a little technical difficulty here. But, David, I want you to go ahead and talk about the horse racing community needs you to show your compassion and show your love for harness racers. I'll let you explain more about that.
I was really hoping that track announcer Josh Carter would take this announcement and I would be spared of it, but there was an unfortunate incident yesterday at Altamont Races. The very first race, the starting gate struck a spectator in the grandstand, and that individual was actually a daughter of our own horseman, Richard Finn. You might remember from the fairs. And tragically, the little girl passed away over the night. So there's been, communication in the last 24 hours set up by the horsemen trying to get, the Finns taken care of. And overnight there was a GoFundMe set up to try to help the Finns out any way we can. I can't imagine they would need some time to process and grieve. So there's nothing to say. Our hearts go out.
If you have kids, this is hard. David has young kids, and this is extremely hard for someone who has kids who, it just is. It's hard for a grandpa to even talk about this. But this is a time, folks, when our community, the horse racing community, can step up. And I'm going to put this up full screen because I don't care what's going on the track
that's
right
perfect.
now. It's really easy, folks, really easy for you to help this family out. And there was a goal, and the goal has been expanded. But, folks, you got to understand what it's going to cost medically and otherwise for this family to get any kind of normalcy to their life. And it will never be normal.
And you speak of normal. Yeah, normalcy's gone. But Richard comes from a long line of horsemen. This is really all he's ever probably known or done, and the Finn's generational horsemen. But it would take some time to step away, I would assume, and maybe grieve in your own personal space. And the GoFundMe was set up originally with medical bills in mind, but I think now the idea is peace of mind. Time for the family to maybe grieve.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw something out that I haven't even run it against David. If you've thought about donating for our last few weeks of harness racing, here's the thing. Don't send us the money.
Please. We've been running donation pages in our broadcast, and if we get to one of those by accident, it comes up on the screen, you bet your butt I'm going to say, don't send us the money. Send it to the GoFundMe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what's important right now. As a pastor, I'm telling people that we need to wrap our arms around these people and love on them and take care of them. And I know that the horsemen are going to take care of him as far as the professional stuff. If there's harness or if there's horses that need to be worked out and raced, that the community is so strong. That's the thing I love about being involved with this community of horsemen, is the fact that they pick up for each other. If a horse stops in the middle of the track, another horseman knows the characteristics of that horse because he talks to each other. But the horse community picks each other up. When we had the incident over Rushville, there were people that picked up Bob Decker's stuff and took care of that family.
And you know what? That horse actually got raced, and the next week there was a family that took over, training of that horse, because obviously the Deckers didn't have the withal to keep that horse fed and maintained and all the things that having livestock requires. So the horsemen step up. It's tragic. It's awful, but the horseman community supports each other, and I'm positive that they'll show up for this, and they already have, and the GoFundMe is blowing the last one out of the water. So keep the donations coming, keep your prayers coming. The Finns are going to need you.
GoFundMe. Just go to GoFundMe.com and just put in the search bar the Finn family. And you'll see this exact picture that you see up on the screen of him with his daughter.
Yeah.
And so, so we'll touch on this a little bit later.
If this broadcast is a little dry, you have to bear with us because it's a hard day for us all. We're all just trying to. You'll see a lot more horsemen here that actually Altamont canceled today's races as well. So, you see horsemen here, and they're just trying to move on with their lives and stay as normal as you can. But we're all hurting.
Okay, now to let you know what the rest of the week looks like, because it's a full week. We get tomorrow off.
Yeah, that's the thing
and then we're going to be down in Charleston for 3 days. In Charleston, we don't have a clue right now because the entries actually for those races, the second one closes today, doesn't it?
Yep. Last night I worked on the second, August 2nd. They have a twilight racing on the first day, racing at 5:30 p.m. And I worked on the draw last night. Got you the files probably 8, 9 o'clock. No, it's probably 7 or 8 o'clock. But yeah, it's we're gonna be doing this. We're taking entries as the officials. As we're doing these broadcasts, so it's going to be a crazy week or whatever we call it, 10 days, whatever it is.
Yeah, and then we'll be back to the second day on Friday, and then we finish up the harness racing part of it with the Brown County Fair. We're kind of excited about that and the racing that goes on there. That's our home.
Good afternoon,
and folks,
ladies
you would think
and
we know what
gentlemen,
the setup's going to be there, like everywhere else. I think tomorrow, hopefully, David and I can get out to the track tomorrow and maybe scope out how we might set things up.
Well, if
Post time for the first, about 7 or 8 minutes away right now.
Okay. The other thing is, again, David talked about
very fast miles,
donations. Send the donations to the Finn
and one score by
to
heavy
everyone.
pressure.
And I want to throw out, the
track
Austin
was
family was a
very
donor
fast.
as well.
Appears to be so again
support,
today.
But right
Look
now,
forward
don't
to some
send us
good
the money.
miles.
I want to acknowledge those
We will be
individuals
having
who
a
did
pick a
help
winner
us.
contest
But,
again
if
today, so I invite you to play along with that. There are entry forms in your program.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're about. I mean, folks, I have people ask me all the time, how do you do 150 ball games for Brown County, of which I do probably at least 100 myself, okay? How do you do that? It's a passion for the kids. It's a passion for the sports. Why is David Brink wanting, but it's the passion that drives. Somebody said, well, you paying yourself or whatever you're doing, like with our sports. And we said, well, when we start taking like a regular paycheck from it, then it becomes something else. It becomes not a passion, but it becomes a job.
You know, I said since day one, this isn't a business of mine. This is a springboard for the horse racing community. If this thing turns a huge profit, and we can invest back into the fairs and maybe have a harness tube race at the local fairs or whatnot, throw up a couple $1,000s here and there. You know, that's my long-term goal.
Or even buy a harness tube horse.
It's never my intent to get rich off this. It's to give the service to the horsemen and what they need, and use any kind of expertise I have to help promote and all that kind of stuff with the technology.
And if Ed Teefe's out there, I hope he's got in his mind that we still are interested in sponsoring a race for Brown County.
Kurt mentioned it, and we had a couple good ideas and a dialogue back and forth, and but I haven't confirmed with Ed, and there's about a month away. We have to do some planning there, discussions.
Okay, we're going to go back to your track announcer because he's given some changes for us.
Race 5, we will have a driver change for you on the 3. Do not have that at this time. Currently, race 6 is clear. Race 7, the 4, You Ain't No Fool, Mike Cox will drive. Race 7, the 4, You Ain't No Fool, Mike Cox will be the driver. Race 8, the 3, Hawkeye Dewey, also Mike Cox. Race 8, number 3, Hawkeye Dewey, make Mike Cox the driver. And lastly, in race 9, also the 3-horse Small Town Southern Boy, Mike Cox will drive there as well. Post time now about 5 minutes away. Horses will be coming onto the track shortly. At this time, we ask that you please rise. Gentlemen, if you would, please remove your caps. Face the flag in the center of the infield as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Welcome back to Harness Tube. We're glad that you're with us today as we get ready for race 1. The drivers are out warming up their horses as we get ready here today. We're going to take a quick commercial break so that David and I can have some more talking time during the races. We'll be back after these messages.
Midwest Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news.
Ham County Fair at Altamont. 5-year-old Harper Finn was injured in an accident during the racing there and later passed away. Altamont was supposed to race all week at the Effingham County Fair. They have voted to cancel all racing for this week in respect to the Finn family. Certainly our thoughts and prayers are with all of the Finns as they deal with this tragedy. Horsemen and women, I've been asked to let you know that Charleston, the Coles County Fair, is keeping their Thursday box open for entries until 2 p.m. today to accommodate any of the horses who may have been canceled at the Altamont Fair. So please note that on the backstretch, the Charleston entry box will be open until 2 p.m. You can contact Leanne Shin to enter any horses for Thursday's card at the Coles County Fair.
Okay, so we got our answer there that the harness racing the rest of the week at Altamont has been canceled, David, and that they are keeping the entries open until Thursday, or for till 2 o'clock today for the Thursday races at Charleston, so that the horsemen can race their horses down there this week.
You know, I do ask our viewers kind of bear with us a little bit because I know they mentioned Leanne Shin's down there taking entries. She would usually provide some of the documents to me, the program file, but I'm sure she's busy and her mind's elsewhere. So we'll do our best to get you our normal broadcast next week. But if something slips in the crack, I hope you understand the whole community is just trying to move forward here.
Yeah, we'll have the racing cards up for you, but the sheet itself may be one of those things that we lack in.
We'll figure it out.
But we can probably put some
Please bring
form
them out for
there
race
another,
one.
For you.
First
to have
race
some
is
sort
the
of
Illini
information.
2-year-old filly pace. Field of 5 will go to the gate here shortly. We do have one additional driver change to note for you. That comes in race 5. Race 5, the 3, Stars With You, make the driver Phil Knox. Phil Knox will drive the 3, Stars With You, in the 5th race.
As we get ready, I'll try to make some different things there. But David, talk about the backstretch a little bit. Will I go in here and try to get some horse changes done in for these races?
Yeah, we got to have a lot of driver changes today, so bear with us if we're kind of repeating some of these slides. But the backstretch just being, take that. We love hearing from you guys. You know, the community, we talk about it and how close-knit it is, you know, with tragedies like this. But if there's anything that anyone kind of has a voice to say or feels that, you know, questions, comments, concerns, we'll do our best to answer you. We want to provide answers. We want to kind of maybe be a voice if the horsemen aren't getting the normal channels of communication out. I know most of the communication happens in a Facebook group, and not everyone's on Facebook. And if they're listening to our broadcast, we'll try to relay what we know the best we can.
Absolutely, and again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Finn family. And if you are not connected to some of the harness racing pages, but most everybody can go to Harness Tube, you can put a condolence out there, and we will make sure that gets taken care of. As we take a look at some of the other races today, we got changes in race 1. Mike Cox is driving a horse. In race 2, Mike Cox is driving, and
Brian Yusko.
Brian Yusko. Again, new horseman to both of us yesterday.
I didn't know him. I was over at the barn area yesterday after the races and kind of bumped into him. Didn't recognize him, but he's from somewhere, and he's driving a couple horses for David Brooks this week, it looks like.
Okay.
And speaking of David Brooks, I just found out yesterday he rents a place down here in Lincoln, and with all the races going on at Springfield, he actually had a little apartment or something here in town and was stabling his horses down at the state fair to cut down on travel. So he's kind of a local.
First name was?
Brian, B-R-I-A-N.
Race 1 is the Illini 2-year-old filly pace. Field of 5 competing here for a purse of $2,955. Field now parading. The 1 is Gorgeous American, owned by Jacob Radel of Edgewood, trained and driven by Cornelius Cavett. The 2 is Feisty Ann, owned by Latoya Hewlett of Clinton, Mississippi, trained by Roshan Trigg, Mike Cox in the sulky. The 3 is Counselor M, owned by David Williams of Byron, Mississippi, and Quajavian Jaquez Carter of Clinton, Mississippi, trained by Jamaica Patton. Cornelius Cavett actually will have a driver change for you on that. The 4, Nana's Ashley, owned by the Ham Family Trust of Missouri, trained and driven by Nick Prather. And the 5, MC Skyscaper 2, owned by Deborah McCrae of Atlanta, trained by Nick Pracer, Jerome Daniels would drive.
What are you looking for?
And then number
The 3, Counselor M, will be driven Jamaica Patton will drive the 3, Counselor M, here in our first race.
I just got a message from Leanne Shin, so I want to go ahead and read that out loud in case somebody didn't hear. Altamont has voted to cancel all racing for this week in respect for the Finn family. Charleston is keeping their Thursday box open until 2 p.m. today to accommodate any horsemen who may have been canceled and need to enter their horse. So that
Starter Mitchell Titus has called for the Pacers here in our first event, 2-year-old filly pace. Last call for your pick-a-winner selections here in the first race. Be sure to get those in. Again, we are giving away $10 per race to be selected from all the correct selections in each race. Last call to get them in here. 4 of these looking for a first lifetime win today. Counselor M, already victorious twice this summer, including a 2:10-1 score at Carlinville earlier. Gates rolling. Gorgeous American with Cornelius Cavett, Feisty Ann, and Mike Cox. Counselor M, Jamaica Patton. Nana Ashleys with Nick Prather. MC Skyscaper 2, Jerome Daniels. Here they come. And they're off and pacing along the inside. Gorgeous American left well. Middle of the racetrack, Counselor M leaving quickly. From the far outside, MC Skyscaper 2 joins the fray. And the battle is up front between Gorgeous American on the inside, who's a neck in front of Counselor M on the outside. MC Skyscaper 2 slides up the rail in third. That's Feisty Ann in fourth. And Nana Ashley's can see them all as they roll down the backstretch. Now Counselor M has made the top for Jamaica Patton as they roll on toward the quarter-mile mark. Gorgeous American will sit second. Right behind those two, MC Skyscaper 2. They're off the quarter in 30 2/5. So a good opening quarter here as Counselor M leads them around the far turn. A length clear of Gorgeous American right on the heels of those two, MC Skyscaper. Gap of about 8 to Feisty Ann in fourth and another 10 or so to Nana Ashley's as they come past the grandstand the first time. They're still led by Counselor M, the major Bombay filly. A winner twice already in her young career, looking to make it 3 here today. She's a length and a half clear of Gorgeous American. Another link back to MC Skyscaper 2. They're off the half in 102 flat. They're still chasing Counselor M and Jamaica Patton. Sitting a tight pocket, getting a good trip. That's Gorgeous American, and still there in third, MC Skyscaper. Gap of about 8 or 9 back to Feisty Ann, and another 8 or so to Nana Ashley's. They've reached 3/4. They're still chasing Counselor M. Now angling to the outside, MC Skyscaper 2 on the move. That one rolls into second and up to challenge. Gorgeous American still there third along the rail. They're off 3/4 in 133 flat. With an 1/8 of a mile to pace along the inside, Counselor M still there. On the outside, MC Skyscaper 2 getting to her. Now sticks a neck in front and is opening up on the field. Counselor M still there on the inside fighting back, but MC Skyscaper 2 is going to get home to win it. Counselor M hangs on for second over Gorgeous American third. Time for the mile, 2:02 1/5.
David, with the other activities we've had, I didn't get a chance to keep my streak going. I got the winning horse right 6 out of 7 races yesterday. The second, 7 out of 7. And the third, like 5 out of 7 or 4 out of 7. So I was
You are learning.
I was hot
You're
yesterday.
learning to read the program. It's once you understand the language and know what we're talking about and can get into the nuts and bolts of the sport, you can't get away because you want to try to pick and you better yourself, and you want to know more than the outcome. So, yeah, you're picking up on all this.
Yeah, and guess what? That's the exciting thing. We tell people, what you need to do is have a party at your house.
Mm-hmm.
Invite people over, pick races. It's fun.
And that's the thing is we're kind of at an opportunity in the state right now with smaller fields and not so much going on that you really can kind of follow these horses and individuals through the whole circuit, through the whole summer, through the whole year. Sometimes if you're in a big state that has a bunch going on, you don't know their names or recognize the drivers. They're not from your area or whatnot. But everyone that's left in this state is left, and they are one big family. So, if you want to follow us along, you'll recognize the horses.
Good
hopefully.
first race to kick things off here this afternoon is that mile in 2:02 1/5. Back half there in a minute and a fifth for these 2-year-old pacing fillies. MC Skyscaper 2, your winner. Track does appear to be very good once again today. Appreciate Jim Austin and his whole crew, the work they've done, as both yesterday and today, this racetrack's been in tip-top condition. Now returning to the winner's circle area, here is MC Skyscaper 2. 2-year-old filly by Yankee Skyscaper out of the Cam's Paragon mare MC Defiance. This one was bred by Rodney McCrae and Deborah McCrae of Illinois, owned by Deborah McCrae of Atlanta, trained by Nick Prather. Jerome Daniels, your winning driver here today. This is a first lifetime win for this filly, who takes a mark of 2:02 1/5 here today at the Logan County Fair. Congratulations to all the connections of MC Skyscaper 2, our winner here in today's opener.
Hey, and I have to admit that I would have not picked that horse to win the race.
I would have overlooked him for sure.
You would have went Counselor M just like I probably was going to.
Yeah, I probably would have. And you know what? I just realized that I think that's David Williams, one of our viewers that owns Counselor M. We've been following her all summer long. But I wouldn't have picked MC Skyscaper 2. But, good to see the McCraes out. I haven't seen Rodney McCrae in a long time. So in the winner circle there, congratulations to him. But the filly is kind of rounding into form here. She's hitting the board pretty consistently, learning her routine. And, sometimes you put one together and you get a nice back half, 2, 2, and 1. It's a nice mark for a 2-year-old filly.
Now, let me ask this question, David. As I'm looking at the score sheet again and learning the score sheet, is there anything to tell me in that race line how many horses were in the race?
That is a great question, and there is not. If there is, I don't know where it's at. I'm missing it. But no, from left to right, there's nothing in that row of information that would indicate the size of the field.
Yeah, because you look and you see a lot of thirds. Well, have they been the third horse in a lot of those races?
Oh,
that would
a
be a question, particularly now. Let's say they're in a field of 5.
Yeah.
And you're judging what they've done. Well, they've got a lot of third places.
What you can do is you can look along. So if you look at the numbers in the middle there, it kind of shows where the horse was at each station during the race. The start, the quarter, the half, the three-quarter, turning for home, and then the final. And next to that, you'll see the numbers in subscript written, and that's actually the length of distance the horse was behind. So if you're seeing a horse finish in third, but it's finishing 45 lengths back, that probably wasn't a very strong effort. If you see a horse that was third and beating a neck, you know that horse was as good as the winner that day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. With that, again, the final is up on your screen today. The winner, MC Skyscraper, in second, Counselor M. Third, Gorgeous American. Fourth, Feisty Ann, and Nana Ashley.
Ashley. I don't know if that's official yet, but I'm pretty sure we're pretty confident with it. I haven't heard Josh say anything, but that was the way they crossed the wire anyway.
Well, we'll turn him back up. I had him turned down.
I haven't heard any judges come down and want to see our replay, so I think that we're pretty safe there.
Yeah, it was pretty clean here. I'm almost right on the start-finish line here, so that really helps. Helps out.
As we learned yesterday, though, you kind of guys got exposed to. There's other things in the mile besides the finish that the judge, the charter, are all keeping their eyes on, and Tina Schrock, Tina and Leanne and Tom Shin are the ones recording all the information you see on this program. So they're following however many horses are in the race and tons of pieces of information that pertain to that event. and trying to remember it and record it as fast as they can. So,
Yeah, she's up there recording to her daughter, to her mother. It's saying the 6 horse in 5th place, 3 lengths back, blah, blah, blah. And this information's just being written down very quickly back there. And
she has a system, she and Marietta Walker, her mother, was a charter for many, many years before Tina. I remember around the Midwestern Illinois County Fairs. And so Tina kind of inherited it in the program, and you guys have seen it. It's kind of chaos. She's watching one thing, recording it herself, hollering out another thing to her helper, whoever it may be, her mom or daughter. And Leanne Shin's the same way. Leanne and her brother Tom work together to record, and report what happens during the races down in that part of the state. So we appreciate both of them very, very immensely.
Got a couple of driver changes coming up for this particular race, as in Mike Cox will be in the number 2 horse, and Brian Yusko, who we saw for the first time yesterday, finally found the spelling for his name, or at least it's closer than mine was yesterday.
We're
almost
close
sure.
Anyway. I bumped into some guys on the backstretch last night and kind of got to ask about Brian. But, yeah, Dave Brooks has brought him down here. Dave doesn't do much driving himself. He trains horses, but you see him bring Juan Franco, or he's had White Avenatti drive for him. He's kind of these county fair catch drivers, and I guess Brian's one of his buddies or somebody he knew that was available to race his horse today.
Okay, with that, we're going to take the quarter times down off of there, and we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back after these messages from our sponsors.
Is that?
Information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
Back with you on Harness Tube. We're glad to be with you today as we get ready to go for race 2 and the track announcer to take over here in a moment. Again, you can like and subscribe us, follow us on Facebook.
Pacers are out for race 2.
And so we'll go on to race 2, get that information on the screen for you as we get ready for this next race. And David,
I'm picking the 1.
You're picking the 1. I haven't looked at it yet.
I know, I beat you to it, but the 1 being Super Shark, that's local, to us. George Pollock's from Rushville. It's his horse. Has had a nice season so far. I kind of like this horse. I know the mare. I know the sire. I'm kind of just going to sentimental, but I think he has a shot, so I'm going to go Super Shark.
Huh. Well, you've really...
But it's tough. I mean, this race is wide open. The 2-horse Jody's Big Boy we saw win down in Carlinville in front of her home crowd, or in front of his home crowd for the Deckers down there. And then we were up at Cambridge. Where was it? Yeah.
Jody's Big Boy won?
We did not see... and we saw Michelle Girl of Crush win in Knoxville, didn't we? Nope.
Yeah.
So, all these horses, Michelle's Girl Crush hasn't missed the board. Any of these horses, it's going to be an interesting race.
Yeah,
because
I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to go in reverse.
Now parading for
go.
race
I'll
2. The 1 is Super
1, 3,
Shark,
2.
owned by George Pollock of Rushville,
right.
trained by Nick Prather. Jerome
Maybe
Daniels will
today's your hot
drive.
day.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
The 2 is Jody's Big Boy, owned by Jody Bennett of Atwater and Wayne Decker of Carlinville, trained by Roshan Trigg, Mike Cox to drive. The 3, Michelle's Girl Crush, owned by David and Adam Brooks of Cambridge. David Brooks trains Brian Yusko in the sulky. This is the Illini 2-year-old Colt Pace. $2,476 on the line here. All 3 of these 2-year-olds have found the winner's circle already this year. Super Shark, a winner at Decatur in 2:05 and 4. That coming back on June 10th. Jody's Big Boy, a 2:07.4 winner at Carlinville over a track rated good. Michelle's Girl Crush, a winner at Knoxville in 2:06.1. That one's been on the board in all 3 starts thus far, so a good competitive race here in race 2. Get those pick-a-winner selections in. Also, I want to say thanks to the Logan County Fair Board, Rod Conklin, for the use of the tractor that you've seen working on the track today, Atlanta Ag for the water truck, and A&A Towing for mechanical help with the equipment. Jim Austin and crew have gotten this track in tip-top shape, and we appreciate all the help of our sponsors. Last call for pick-a-winner selections here in race 2.
Steve, you asked, and the backstretch answers. I learned something new today. Ron Huff emailed me and said that if you want to know the size of the field the horse was in, the far right column, I didn't know that was there. Next to the top 3 finishers, let's say Super Shark's top line at Lewiston, you see, I don't know what the horse's name is.
Fox Valley. Well, I'm going to like Jody's Big Boy,
Okay.
and it's Fox Valley Durango is the first one, I think.
I'm not sure if that's, but anyway, to the 3, there's 3 horses' names there, and then the far right you can see -7. There's 7 horses in that field. Bigger fields at the Springfield races than in some of these county fairs. You can see some 3s and 5s.
Starter
and 4s,
Mitchell
so
Titus has
good to
called the
know.
Pacers to the
Yeah,
gate here in
absolutely.
race
That's
2.
a
Super
great
Shark
to
with
know.
Jerome Daniels, Jody's Big Boy and Mike Cox, Michelle's Girl Crush with Brian Yusko lining up behind the gate, and the gate now rolling. Here they come. And they're off and pacing on the outside. Michelle's Girl Crush goes on a break. Middle of the racetrack, Jody's Big Boy left well for Mike Cox. Along the inside, Super Shark now scoots up for Jerome Daniels to grab the early lead. Jody's Big Boy drops in second, and Michelle's Girl Crush, back pacing, has caught the top 2 as they head on to the backstretch the first time. They're led by Super Shark, the Revenge Shark gelding. He's clear by 2. That's Jody's Big Boy second. And now a tighter third, Michelle's Girl Crush after that miscue at the start. Very much in contention as they roll past the quarter-mile marker. They were led there by Super Shark in 32 1/5 seconds. And that one opens up by about 2.5 now over Jody's Big Boy. Michelle's Girl Crush still there third as they go past the 3/8 mile marker and into the stretch the first time. Super Shark, a winner at Decatur in 2:05.4, will look to get lifetime win number 2 on the front end here today. And he'll lead them past the half-mile marker, a 1.5 clear of Jody's Big Boy. Michelle's Girl Crush right on that one's heels as all 3 of these 2-year-olds very much in contention with less than a half a mile to pace. They were off the half in 104 flat. That's a 31 4 quarter. They're still trying to catch Super Shark. Super Shark, who grabbed the lead going into the first turn, has led every step since. And now the pace quickens on the backside as Jerome Daniels asks that one for a bit more. He's 2.5 clear of Jody's Big Boy. Another 2 back to Michelle's Girl Crush. They're past 3 quarters, still chasing Super Shark. They were off 3 quarters in 1:36 2. Super Shark opens up by 3 now. Jody's Big Boy still second along the rail on the outside. Michelle's Girl Crush underway. But Super Shark all alone now as he's entered the stretch. And Super Shark pacing very strongly down the inside of the racetrack. Super Shark is going to get up to win race 2. Battle is on for second. Jody's Big Boy on the inside just holding off Michelle's Girl Crush third. Time for the mile, 2:04 4/5.
Well, David, you're close to the hot hand. You at least picked the winner that time.
That horse impresses me. Has had some bad luck. Actually, that horse went down in a qualifier earlier this year. It came out of it okay. So did the driver. But good for George. You know, he's a longtime horseman. Been a Schuyler County Fair Board member and Fair Board president for a long time years ago. But you know, he's had some health issues lately. He's got a nice little horse to play with here and follow around these fairs and have
Sharp
fun.
last quarter there in 28-2 for Super Shark, who rolled home a winner here today. The second time in his young career.
I will
Again,
say
the racetrack appears to be very fast. Thanks again to Rod Conklin for the use of the tractor, Atlanta Ag for the water truck, and A&A Towing for their mechanical help. As this racetrack, tip-top condition once again here today.
it didn't end up coming to fruition, but I did get an email from Jody Decker Bennett. Jody's Big Boy, who's they're named after her and belongs to the Deckers, was bred by Margaret Decker. If that horse were to win, they were wanting all the horsemen to go out in the winner's circle and show their support for Bobby. They wanted
Our
to
race
show
two
Bobby the
pick a
picture of all the
winner,
horsemen,
Scott
you know,
Schultz. Scott Schultz, congratulations. You've won $10 for that correct selection of Super Shark here in race 2. Winning Connections now making their way to the winner's circle area. And here is Super Shark. 2-year-old gelding by Revenge Shark out of the Park Place Mare Park on the Road. This one bred by the Fair Meadow Farm. Owned by George Pollock of Rushville, Illinois. Trained by Nick Prather. Driven to victory here this afternoon by Jerome Daniels. Second lifetime win for this gelding, who takes a new lifetime mark here today at the Logan County Fair in 2:04 4/5. Winning owner George Pollock down there in the winner's circle now, along with driver Jerome Daniels and members of the Prather family. Congratulations to all of our connections here. Winner of race 2, Super Shark. Results are now official. Super Shark, your winner. The 2, Jody's Big Boy, was second. 3, Michelle's Girl Crush, finished third. Quarter in 32-1. The half in 104 flat. 3/4, 136-2. Time for the mile, 2:04 4/5. Race 2 checks down, 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. Upcoming race 3 is the Illini 2-year-old trot. Field of 4 will head to the gate. 2 driver changes to note. The 3, Hope Forever, Mike Cox. And the 4, Dashing Durango, Jerome Daniels. Again, Mike Cox to drive the 3, Jerome Daniels to drive the 4 in our upcoming third race.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
Back with you on the Harness 2. David, you were commenting about the people in the winner's circle.
Yeah,
it was touch base
it's
on
great
that.
to see George Pollock out and about. He was in the winner's circle with the bib overalls on. But, you know, I had the thought, and I need to do a better job of myself. I need to learn everyone's names, because in that winner's circle you saw Cole and Connor Prather at the head of the horse, taking care of the horse. And those are Nick Prather's sons. Those two worked their butts off. They're flying around. You know, Nick's stable has grown, and he's got recruited his sons to help him, and those two don't get the credit they deserve. You can see Missy's name in the program, and she does an awesome job, and Nick trains a lot of horses. But Cole and Connor definitely deserve a shout out. And I want to do a better job of recognizing the people in the winner's circle, giving them credit for what they do, and learning people's names I don't know, because there's some grooms I don't know. So
you mean you're not Ed Teefy or
I'm starting
Kurt
to learn.
Kurt Becker, and you know everybody in
I'm
harness
starting
racing?
to learn. Those guys just have done it for so long, they don't forget, because I mean there's so much information out there. But as you do it and interact with people, you learn about them and their stories. And you know, really, the story of harness racing in this sport at the county fair level is the product we're trying to tell here. Is what we're trying to get accomplished. Is we want to bring that to you. The tragedies, the triumphs, the communities.
Appears we will have another driver change here in race 3. The 2, Fox Valley Jesse, make the driver Jamaica Patton. Trainer Jamaica Patton will drive the 2, Fox Valley Jesse.
You can see on the screen there, for those of you following our schedule, we'll just touch base real quick again. Tomorrow we're off. There's no racing in the state as Altamont canceled, so we will come down to Charleston on the second, and race the post time there at 5:30 p.m. and back to Charleston the next 2 days for 12:30 posts for Thursday and Friday, finishing out the work week. And then our last broadcast will be Mount Sterling Saturday and Sunday, the 5th and 6th, post time 2 p.m. both days.
And so anxious for that. We want to let you know, we want to thank our donors. We'll leave the donors up on the screen, but we usually ask for donors at this point, and we're kind of changing up what we do with that, because we want you to go to, and I don't have the slide up. We'll have it up plenty of times today, to the Finn family.
Yes.
On it's the Finn family on GoFundMe to help this family out of the tragedy yesterday at Altamont. That's the reason why the races are canceled.
Yes.
And
if you're a viewer and you not part of the community and you didn't hear about it, and have it in your heart to donate, and we're going to donate to us maybe or whatnot, we're just asking direct that support to the GoFundMe if you can, or any kind of. I will also mention this. There's also an account set up for Richard and Bethany Finn at the Hawthorne bookkeeper's office. So if anybody has any money in their account at Hawthorne, they can call up to Hawthorne, to Barbara, and just transfer money over, go to the family as well. So that's another way to help.
And again, folks, having been around harness racing just really for a short period in my life, I have found out how close this community is. It's like living in our town of Mount Sterling. When one person hurts in the community, everybody hurts. And this was, people are wondering, I'll just put it like this. It was a freak accident that this 5-year-old girl tragically lost her life.
Correct.
And it's one of those things that one in a million, probably a million races in, and it wouldn't happen. But that's as far as I go. There'll be enough news coverage on it that you can find out any.
If you have an interest of following up, you can read about it. But we'll just keep it at what happened is a tragedy, and the horsemen are. Speaking of the community, Jody Bennett was emailing. They're wanting to show Bobby a picture of a winner's circle if Jody's big boy would happen to have won, including all the horsemen to show us support. And that, that's a great idea. If any of Richard's Finn's horses get in, or somebody, maybe we'll do something similar to show them the support. But they feel it.
Race 3 is the Illini Colts Association 2-year-old trot. Field of 4 competing here for a purse of $4,889. And the field now parading. The 1 is Danish Lullaby, owned, trained, and driven by Steve Renard of Hamilton, Illinois. The 2 is Fox Valley Jesse, owned by Sherry Boldovich of Lakewood, Colorado, Jamaica Patton of Rochester, and Linda Allhands of Monticello, trained and driven by Jamaica Patton. The 3 is Hope Forever, leased by Charles Hurst Jr. of Houston, Texas. Roshan Trigg, your trainer. Mike Cox will drive. And the 4, Dashing Durango, owned and trained by Steve Renard, Jerome Daniels in the sulky. This field of 4 includes 3 fillies, the 1, 2, and 3, and 1 colt, that being Dashing Durango. Dashing Durango on the board in 11 of 12 starts thus far. A single win, that coming at Cambridge in 2:13 flat. Fox Valley Jesse, also a winner this season, twice in fact. Most recently at Farmer City in 2:12 and 2. that being her lifetime mark thus far. Danish Lullaby, a second and third place efforts in 11 starts, still looking for lifetime win number 1, and Hope Forever, also a maiden, but a second and 2/3 to her credit in 5 starts. So very competitive field of 4 here in race 3. Last call for those pick-a-winner selections.
David, we're asking backstretch people to send us a driver from the past, a trainer from the past, or a horse from the past. And there's several out there. I'll throw out my favorite. Timely Tony was my favorite horse, owned by Gene Northrup, trained by Gene Northrup.
Yeah.
All the Timely series that the Northrups had in the 80s were favorite horses of mine. Favorite horses right now, I'm kind of on withdrawal because my 3 top horses are not here.
Well, they were down at Altamont.
Pocus, and Focus.
Going for the big purses and the Jeffers, yep.
And Bingo Bangle Bongle.
The 4
and you know what the
Dashing
third
Durango
one is,
had
don't
to go
you?
back to the barn momentarily.
Good old
for
Sour
an
Grapes.
equipment
Sour
check, but
Grapes,
now
yeah, they
has
were all down
rejoined
at
the Trotters.
Altamont, so...
as
maybe we'll
starter
get to
Mitchell
see them on
Titus has
Thursday,
called him
I'm
to the
hoping.
gate
You
here in
mentioned
race
maybe that's
3.
a good idea is in the light of all the stuff that's happened, in the sport. Any kind of good memories you can have or want to share, or horses, or
Danish Lullaby with
that might
Steve
help.
Renard,
It might help to remember
Fox
some good
Valley
times.
Jesse and
Yes,
Jamaica
absolutely.
Patton, Hope Forever with Mike Cox, and Dashing Durango with Jerome Daniels now lining up behind the gate as the gate begins to roll. Here they come. And they're off and trotting. Little trouble behind the gate for the 3, Hope Forever. In the middle of the racetrack, Fox Valley Jesse left well. Danish Lullaby gets away behind that one. Dashing Durango slides into 3rd now. Far back to Hope Forever as they go through the first turn. And now up front, Fox Valley Jesse goes on a break, which allows Danish Lullaby to take over for Steve Renard. Right behind that one, stablemate Dashing Durango and Jerome Daniels. A gap of about 15 or so now to Hope Forever in 3rd, and back trotting Fox Valley Jesse, excuse me. They're past the quarter-mile mark. They were there in 34 seconds flat. They're led by Danish Lullaby, the Danish Durango filly, looking for a first lifetime win here today. She's on top by a length, right behind her, and now tipping to the outside. Dashing Durango, that one on the move for Daniels as they come into the stretch the first time. And he will take over as they come past the grandstand. Dashing Durango will lead them to the half. Danish Lullaby right there second. A much closer third now, Fox Valley Jesse, who is under a drive for Jamaica Patton and has now moved up into second place off a half and 108 flat. They're chasing Dashing Durango. But Fox Valley Jesse, after the early miscue, now only a length and a quarter back in second. A gap of 4 or 5 to Danish Lullaby in 3rd, and a closer Hope Forever 4th as they head on to the back stretch. And now out of the pocket and on the move once again, Fox Valley Jesse up to challenge Dashing Durango. These two only a head apart as they roll toward the 3/4 mile marker. On the inside, that's Dashing Durango. On the outside, Fox Valley Jesse. These two head and head. They're off 3/4 in 140 flat. That was a 32-second third quarter. On the inside, Dashing Durango. On the outside, Fox Valley Jesse. These two in a head-to-head duel as they come into the stretch. It's Dashing Durango on the inside. Fox Valley Jesse on the outside. They are in a drive to the wire on the inside. Dashing Durango still there. One last try from Fox Valley Jesse, but not enough. Dashing Durango will get home a winner. Fox Valley Jesse second. Hope Forever third over Danish Lullaby fourth. Time for the mile, 2:10 flat.
David, what did you have for the 3/4?
Yeah, I wrote it down wrong. I heard a 32-second quarter on top of the 108 at half. I'd put you at 140 flat.
Okay. And the last one was 2:10
210 flat. Yep, I didn't get it jotted down in time, but that math adds up, I think.
140 flat for the 3/4. Is that what you said? That's close enough.
32 plus 8, I think.
Okay. All right, and so that's your finish out there. It looks like, hey, I'm not on a streak today. I've missed another one.
Yeah.
I had the 4-horse picked in the second spot in this race, and again, hey, any given day, any given winner, any given guess, I guess is what we should say.
I guess we don't have a winner's circle presentation. I just see Jerome going back to the barn. This is an interesting situation. Doc Rennard owned 2 horses in that race, and he's kind of a one-man shop himself. And I think, what is he, 76 years old? So I think Jerome was getting the horse back to the barn so that Steve could take his horses. Oh, he's going to ride over here to the winner's circle with Jerome. I see he's walking out of the barn and talking to his driver, and maybe going to sit
Dashing
on the crossbar.
Durango, your winner there in 210 flat. Pick a winner in race 3, Bob Bryant. Bob Bryant, congratulations. You're a $10 winner for that correct selection in our Pick a Winner contest.
Now this is a new one. You've got Jerome Daniels, who's unseated from the jog cart. No, I shouldn't say he was been jumped out of the. Oh, he's going to ride. So Rennard is in the seat, and Jerome, they're coming back here or not? He's giving him a ride, I think, over to the other barn. They're not coming back to the winner's circle, I believe. But what I was going to say was, Steve Rennard's been training horses and driving his own horses for 10 plus to 15 years now. He's won a lot of races. Very often do you see somebody else win with one of his horses. He kind of has a special connection with all of his animals, and Jerome did a great job, kept that horse engaged. As if you know Rennard's style, he's very verbal and talks to his horses. And, I'm sure Jerome...
If you're in the stands, you can hear him talking to the horses.
But we were setting up today. I heard him warming up his horses before the races, and he was talking to them going to the half. An innocuous part of the training mile, theoretically, but he's constantly reassuring them and chatting with them and giving them, encouragement. And he develops a special connection with these animals. He raises them, or he buys them as yearlings and raises some, and then from day one, it's all him, all hands on.
And he's a retired veterinarian, is that correct?
Yep, he had a veterinary clinic up in Hamilton, Illinois. Has since retired from that and just kind of takes his horses around and does this. And
now returning to the winner's circle area, here is your winner of race 3, the 4, Dashing Durango. Dashing Durango, a 2-year-old colt by Danish Durango out of the vaporized mare Fox Valley Yvonne. This one bred by Dr. Patrick Graham, owned and trained by Steve Rennard of Hamilton, Illinois, driven to victory here today by Jerome Daniels. The Colt's second lifetime win, on the board now in 12 of 13 starts. Takes a new lifetime mark here today at the Logan County Fair of 210 flat. Congratulations to all the connections of Dashing Durango, our winner here in race 3. Results are now official. The 1, Danish Lullaby, was 4th. 2, Fox Valley Jesse, 2nd. 3, Hope Forever finished 3rd. And the 4, Dashing Durango, your winner. Quarter in 34 seconds flat. The half, 108 flat. 3/4, 140 flat. Time for the mile, 210 flat. Race 3 checks down, 4, 2, 3, 1 on the bottom. Upcoming race 4. Note the driver changes on the 1, Ashley's Little Angel, to Mike Cox. And the 2, Ms. Miley, will be Rick Schrock.
All right, with that, David, that's the end of the 3rd race. We're into the 4th race. And I got to compliment these guys on time, because I'm a big guy about let's keep things moving to keep fan interest in there. And Lincoln, the Logan County Fair, has been in that what I call the sweet spot of 15 minutes a race. So in other words, from the start of the race to the start of the next race, it runs about 15 minutes. We walked out of here yesterday, hour and 45 minutes for 7 races, which was spot on the money.
Huge thank you to the horsemen, the fair board, everybody, all the officials for keeping things moving. And you're right, the horsemen will talk about, if they're watching a parimutuel track, and the race doesn't go off at the scheduled post time, there's a countdown, 10 minutes to post, 5 minutes to post, whatever. If that's not on, it bothers the horsemen. They're kind of used to the routine and the cadence of it, if you will. And the fairs have been kind of working their butts off the horsemen and all the grooms on the backstretch, ensuring that we can put on these programs in a timely manner. It would be it's so hard to get all the coordination done and and keep it flowing in a presentable manner. But the horsemen have done a great job. Kept the programs moving. We've had butted up against some nighttime programs at the fairs. We butted up against dark, shadowy tracks, and the horsemen have got it done to make sure that we get these races in. Absolutely,
and a nice job by everyone. And folks, these races do not magically appear not only on your screen. We're usually here hour at least before we go on the air, if not a little bit more, hour and a half. Today was a luxury because we knew exactly what we were walking in because it was the second day, just like Decatur when we were at Decatur before having the second day. But also, the races themselves do not just happen. These horses has to be entered into the race. Somebody's got to take that information, make that card that you have. Yeah, some of it's computer generated, but as we were talking before, somebody's got to put that information into the computer, generates it, gets it out here. Somebody's got to get the blankets, the coolers, or whatever they're giving, and have the winner circle straightened out. You have to get judges. There are timers, judges, timers, and track officials,
announcers, starters.
And by the way, I heard we had a young and coming guy doing the second and third day at Charleston.
I don't know about young. I don't know about up and coming, but I have been asked to fill in and do some track announcing duties at Charleston on Thursday and Friday, which should be interesting as we see some horses moving over into those cards. I don't know how many races there will be, if they'll start splitting divisions, but yeah, the officials in this state are fewer and further between, and so I was asked. Ed Teefy was asked and wasn't able to make it down to Charleston with Mount Sterling racing the following couple days. So I was down there anyway. I said I would do it, and I haven't been to Charleston in a long time. Looking forward to get back over there and see some of the program, whatever terms we may be, whatever kind of. But there are a lot of good horsemen in that area. They support the horsemen, the fair. The fair supports them. So.
Well, you're starting to get into that Kentucky area down there,
yeah,
where they're, we've got bleed up and then people that cross over the borders and so forth, and it's great to see like the what was that top line races that we had yesterday that were not restricted to Illinois horses.
And when you move towards the eastern side of the state, for those of you who don't know, harness racing probably mecca right now. If you wouldn't say the Meadowlands complex out in New York, East Rutherford, New Jersey, probably the premier track is in a Midwest town. It's in Indianapolis. So there's a huge horse population between, Champaign and Western Indianapolis, and we get a lot of horses that come from there, or horsemen who have moved over to Indianapolis, but are from Illinois, coming back over and racing some of those races, and it's a bigger pool of individuals, horses, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. As we get ready for race 4, we're not quite halfway through the race circuit or races for today, but as he said, a couple of driver changes. We've got Mike Cox.
Race 4 is the Illini Colt Association 3-year-old filly pace. Field of 4 will head to the gate with a purse of $2,473 on the line. And the field now parading. The one is Ashley's Little Angel, owned by the Flacco family farms of Alexis and Roshun Trigg of Brandon, Mississippi. Roshun Trigg trains. Mike Cox will drive. The 2 is Ms. Miley, owned by Hart Walker of Jerseyville, Chaz Walker of Edwardsville, Bob Walker of Carrollton, and Robin Klingler, also of Carrollton, trained by Bob Walker, Rick Schrock in the sulky. The 3 is Southgate Sally, owned by Blake and Jeffrey Driscoll of Carrollton and Mark and Karen Sue Walker of Carrollton. Mark Walker trains. Jamaica Patton will drive. The 4 is Major Rosita, owned by Carla Santos of Springfield, trained by Dossie Minor. Phil Knox will drive. Four 3-year-old Illinois-bred fillies will go to the gate here. All of these have found the winner's circle already this season. Ashley's Little Angel, a winner at Rushville earlier in the year in 202 and 3. Ms. Miley, 2 wins on the season, including a victory by a nose at Cambridge in 203 3/5. Southgate Sally took a mark of 155 and 1, winning at Springfield earlier this year. She's got 3 wins and 8 starts on the year thus far. And the 4 Major Rosita, a 4-time winner in 2023, also took her mark at Springfield in 156 and 2. So all of these fillies know their way to the winner's circle. Should be a good one here, folks. Last call to get the picker winner selections in for race 4.
David, real quick.
Who's your picks?
1, 4, 2.
I've got 2, 3, 4. See, we're different here. I'm 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, and I tell you what, there's 3 what I call really quality horses in this race that we've seen watch this year. Ashley's Little Angel, tell the story there because that has special meaning.
Ashley's Little Angel?
Yes. Isn't that named after?
Oh, no, that's Paradise Tomorrow for the Millers. But Ashley's Little Angel, I'll tell you a story on that horse. That horse was the county fair champ last year as a 2-year-old. Was really, look at the card here. Last year had 20 wins, 20 starts, 6 wins, 5 seconds. So this filly was at the fairs, winning a lot of races last year. Miss Miley, the 2-horse, belongs to Bob Walker. With his son-in-law Rick Schrock driving. I like that filly. She won up at Cambridge in that big purse race. I got the Walkers are family and friends. I got to cheer for them, I guess. And speaking of the Walkers, a 3-horse Southgate Sally, that belongs to Mark Walker, the brother Tom of. I'm gonna get this wrong. So belongs to Mark Walker, who is the son of Larry Walker, who is Bob Walker's brother. So that horse actually won a elimination of one of the big races in Chicago last year for them, and has been a lot of fun for him. Hasn't been on a half mile yet this year, so maybe some question marks there. Major Rosita, Alex Santos does a lot of the training and with his horse and keeps his hands on him. He's kind of a kid working.
Starter
for
is called the 3-year-old pacing fillies to the gate.
Any of these horses
Ashley's
I would like to see
Little
win.
Angel
I'm good with them all.
Mike Cox, Ms. Miley and Rick Schrock, Southgate Sally with Jamaica Patton, Major Rosita and Phil Knox are lined up behind the gate, and the gate now rolling. Here they come. And they're off and pacing away quickly. That's Ms. Miley on the inside. In the middle of the racetrack, Southgate Sally also left on the far outside. Major Rosita looks for early position as the fillies power into the first turn, still led by Ms. Miley. Now rolling up on the outside, that's Major Rosita up to challenge the leaders. Southgate Sally along the rail in third. Ashley's Little Angel got away in fourth. Up front, Major Rosita has now made the top for Phil Knox before the quarter-mile mark. That's Ms. Miley right there, second for Schrock. 2 links back to Southgate Sally in third, and Ashley's Little Angel 3 behind that one. As they're past the quarter-mile marker, they were there in 29 and 4. So a quick opening panel here. Major Rosita parked through the first turn, made the top, and will head them into the stretch the first time. Ms. Miley still right there in second. Southgate Sally along the rail in third. Ashley's Little Angels fourth. They're still in line as they come past the grandstand the first time. Major Rosita takes them past the half-mile marker. Ms. Miley there in second, now tipping to the outside and on the move. Here's Southgate Sally. Ashley's Little Angel will look to follow that one's cover. They're off the half in 58 and 2, so a quick opening half. Major Rosita still there along the inside. Ms. Miley getting a good trip, but will need racing room. Southgate Sally still driving on the outside for Patton, and a tighter fourth now. Ashley's Little Angel, as only 2.5 lengths separates the 4 filly pacers as they reach the 3/4 mile marker. They're still chasing Major Rosita on the outside. Southgate Sally up to challenge second. They were off 3/4 in 1:29 flat. Major Rosita's still there. Southgate Sally's been parked a long time, but still fighting. Ms. Miley dying for racing room on the inside. Now swinging 3 wide. Here's Ashley's Little Angel joining the fray. Major Rosita still there. Ms. Miley gets room on the inside for Schrock with a shot here at the end, but they're still chasing Major Rosita at the wire, who will hang on by about a 1/4 length over a fast-closing Ms. Miley. Southgate Sally was third. Ashley's Little Angel fourth. Time for that mile, 1:59 flat.
Well, David, good race
Wow, great race.
and a pace
Yeah, they were
throughout the whole
smoking.
race. That was not a last half mile fast pace. That was a pace for the whole race.
Phil Knox committed to that front end in this first turn and pushed the tempo. And Jamaica was leaving too, but Knox grabbed that front end and just kept the throttle open. Rolled on down the track. It worked out for him. When Jamaica came at the half, didn't get cleared. We're probably just staying a little bit wide to be safe on the turns on this half-mile track. But that kind of locked in Truck, and for his father-in-law's horse, for the Walker's horse for Ms. Miley, she had a ton of pace in the last turn. I think Josh said she was dying for racing room, and absolutely. I don't think Rick even pulled the earplugs until he got out of the turn, straightened up, and gave her some track to work at. So I mean, that filly's kick didn't quite get the full track it deserved. But credit to Phil. Phil knew where the line was, he knew where the start was, and he raced to it as fast as he could. And 30-second last quarter isn't super fast, but in that kind of mile, it's holding on enough. It's holding on enough to keep that.
Well, when you say it, set the pace that they did, just under 30 seconds
yeah,
in
you
the
have to
quarter
kind of,
and the half, and then what did we do? 31, 32 for the 3 quarters. They started to slow up a little bit because of the pace.
I heard somewhere in an interview, there's a nationally prominent driver named Yannick Gingras, and he said it used to be in the old days your horse needed a quarter or 3/8 of a mile to relax to catch its breath to put in that second move.
And now returning to the winner's circle, here
They're
is
lucky
your
if they
fourth
give a
race
horse
winner,
a
Major
quarter to rest anymore.
Rosita.
It's throttle open the whole mile.
Major Rosita, a 3-year-old filly by Major Bombay out of the Dolly mare Arabelle Star. This one bred by Laureen Kruger of Wisconsin, owned by Carlos Santos of Springfield, trained by Dossie Miner. Phil Knox, your winning driver. Alex Conte down in the winner's circle as well. This filly, a 5-time winner on the year. This is her 7th lifetime victory. Took her mark earlier at Springfield of 156-2. Victorious here today in 159 flat. Congratulations to all the connections of Major Rosita, our winner here in race 4. Congratulations also to Rowan Fink. Rowan Fink, you've won $10 for that correct selection in our Pick a Winner contest.
Again, David, I go back on one of the most interesting races out there. The horse that I thought was going to finish on top there actually ended up in 4th place. And so, yeah.
With competitive tight fields, it can really shake out, and whoever gets the trip, and that trip is not always up to the driver. Sometimes their hands forced, and I think that kind of happened here today. Jamaica had to kind of come early, didn't really have much choice. Rick got boxed in, and it worked out. I don't know if that was Phil's plan all along, but it worked.
Well, here's the thing. You know that the driver trainer knows, particularly the trainer knows his horse, because even if he's having a different driver, he's saying start out the first quarter mile, fall in behind, or get out in front and lead. But opposing trainers know the horses they're going against.
Oh yeah, if you can run somebody in the first turn, you push them in the first turn, your horse is a little more stable than theirs. You race them there, you make them go off stride, and you can kind of gather yourself and make around the turn and eliminate one competitor that way. That kind of stuff.
And you notice this analysis like when you watch the Kentucky Derby.
4th race results
and some of the
are
other
now
races.
official. The 1, Ashley's Little Angel, was 4th. 2, Ms. Miley finished 2nd. 3, Southgate Sally was 3rd. And the 4, Major Rosita, your winner. The quarter in 29-4, half 58-2, 3 quarters 129 flat. Time for the mile 159 flat. Race 4 checks down 4-2-3-1 on the bottom. Upcoming race 5 is the Illini 3-year-old Colt Pace. Field of 3 will go to the gate. There is a driver change to note that on the 3. Stars with you. Make the driver Phil Knox. Phil Knox will drive the 3. Stars with you in the 5th race, excuse me.
Okay, David will come back to us so that we can talk about that a little further. If you watch the Kentucky Derby broadcast, if you're into horses and racing, you're going to hear them say, such and such a horse is when they lead the first quarter, or they're not strong until the last quarter.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to beat that horse because this horse has won all the races, you try to take them out of the race. So in other words, if they're a horse that likes to save it to the end, then guess what? Maybe you're out there in front if your horse has got the stamina to do it.
If you can give them traffic, it's hard to
run
get
them
around
out of gas.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of different ways to cut one of these races up and figure out, the best way to win it. Every horseman has their own opinion. Some guys like to come off the pace and finish strong. Some guys like to train their horses to never get past. And with that comes drivers' differences. So horses are individuals. The trainers have tendencies. Trainers really develop. Let me slow down here. Trainers really develop a program because they put these horses through a daily routine that's specialized to accomplish, something that's not necessarily natural to the horse. So these trainers really kind of put this whole program in place, and that program might be centered around leaving the gate and getting the front end. It might be centered around never getting the horse tired and always leaving some in the tank so that they never get themselves completely exhausted.
Again, what gate you're starting in.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this in thoroughbreds all the time, but also here, your gate position makes a difference because if you're a lead horse and you're out in that, let's say thoroughbreds out in that 8 spot, and you got to get to the inside rail, you're going to have to push that horse to the first corner to get because you got further to run than any other horse to get there.
I can't remember what it equates to, but in harness racing, when you are one wide, so if you're sitting on the outside of the field and you're not on the rail per se, I think it adds like 12 or 16 feet to the length of the mile. So it definitely does come into play. And I actually was watching the Adios card last Saturday, and Yannick Gingras again was talking about how Nancy Tactor's horse had won the elimination and earned the right to pick their post position for the big, $350,000 final. And Gingras told Tactor, he's like, give us the 4. The highest win percentage on that track is a 5, but he knew where the other horses were going to pick, and he had a game plan days in advance on how to beat that horse. And what he did was he said, I want to be inside the horse that I think I have to beat, to make sure that when they get the front, I can come when they're resting and grab the front end, and then I can control the last 3/8 of the race, or 3/8 of the race, and it worked for him. There's so much strategy and nuance and what goes on out there.
To me, the worst spot in starting, let's say you have an 8-horse gate, okay, or 4 spots in your gate, and so you've got 8 horses in it, or 7, is that number 2 spot in the second row, because you're already boxed in.
Yeah, if you draw the second tier and you don't have room to get around, you're boxed into what the race is doing. It limits your options. You don't have to wait till the race sets up, clears out, every horse lines up, and then decide how to move because there's just too much traffic at the fold of the wings to do anything.
Okay, we're going to do a quick commercial. We'll be back after these messages.
Come join us for the 25th Annual Illini Classic Yearling Sale to be held on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield. Over 180 yearlings will be offered, including many by leading sires across the Midwest, as well as several by first-crop stallions. It's one of our strongest catalogs ever. Find your next champion at the Illini Classic Yearling Sale, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, beginning at 11 a.m. Central.
Midwest Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news, information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Fifth race is the Illini Colt Association 3-year-old Colton Gelding Pace. Field of 3 will head to the gate with a purse of $2,266 on the line here. And the field is now post-parading. The 1 is Some Stars Shine Brighter, owned by Jody Peacock of Cantrell and Brady Schrock, also of Cantrell. Rick Schrock trains and will drive. The 2 is Bombay Buddy, owned by D&J Racing Stables of Terry, Mississippi. Jamaica Patton trains and is in the sulky. And the 3 is Stars With You, owned by Wayne Brown of Mason, Tennessee, who also trains. Phil Knox, your driver. These 3 Illinois-bred 3-year-old Pacers look to be fairly evenly matched up here. The 1, Some Stars Shine Brighter. 1 win and 7 starts. Also 4 second-place efforts to his credit this year. Took a mark of 158 and 3 at Springfield earlier this year. Most recently comes in off a second-place effort at Urbana. The 2, Bombay Buddy. Winless in 2023 and 7 starts, but a 2-time winner a year ago at age 2. This one took a mark of 202 and 2 at Fayetteville, Tennessee a year ago. 3 Stars With You. Looking for a first lifetime win here today. Been race timed as fast as 2 minutes and a fifth at Springfield back in May. So these 3 appear to be fairly evenly matched. Last chance to make those pick-a-winner selections here in race 5.
David, I did an experiment there. I turned the mic on the camera. Boy, that was a mistake. You get a lot more than you want on that as far as crowd noise, trying to get some ambience in here. But, folks, as we get ready, I'm going to touch on it again. Go to the GoFundMe account for the Finn family.
Yes, please.
The Finn family at GoFundMe, and help that family out. If you did not hear earlier today, a 5-year-old girl in a freak accident down at Altamont died yesterday as Richard Finn's daughter, 5-year-old daughter, and Richard's dad passed away earlier this year. He's been wearing his dad's colors, and so the horse racing community, heart bleeds for that family and for the Flynn family and the losses they've had.
And I just read.
Starter is called the Pacers here in race 5. Some Stars Shine Brighter.
Keep your prayers on for the starter of that day and the driver from that car and the whole starting crew too, because it was an accident and it's everyone is really struggling right now. So, and I think it was the Roy Finn who was in the car that day. So yesterday. So.
Here they come. And they're off and pacing. Nice even start here. Some Stars Shine Brighter slides up the rail to grab the early lead. Bombay Buddy slides over into second. And Stars With You will get away in third as the Pacers fall out in post position order. They're led by Some Stars Shine Brighter and Rick Schrock by a length and a half. That's Bombay Buddy with Jamaica Patton in second. Gap of 2 more back to Stars With You and Phil Knox in third. As the 3-year-old Pacers roll down the backstretch toward the quarter-mile marker, they're led by Some Stars Shine Brighter. Gelding by Some Star Somewhere. Very successful Illinois sire over the last couple of years. They're past the quarter in 31 seconds flat. Some Stars Shine Brighter still clear by a length and a half. Bombay Buddy, the major Bombay gelding, right there in second. Gap of 3 or so back to Stars With You in third. They're into the stretch the first time now, and Some Stars Shine Brighter on a comfortable lead here for Rick Schrock as they pass the half-mile marker. Bombay Buddy getting a perfect trip there in second. Tighter third now, Stars With You. All 3 of these in contention. They're off the half in a minute 2 fifths. 29 and 2 for the second quarter there. As they roll on to the backstretch, they're still chasing Some Stars Shine Brighter. Bombay Buddy, a tight pocket there in second. Gap of 3 more back to Stars With You in third. As they've reached 3/4 now out of the pocket, here comes Bombay Buddy up to challenge Some Stars Shine Brighter. They were off 3/4 and 131 flat. On the inside, Some Stars Shine Brighter still there. On the outside, Bombay Buddy up, pulls even now with 1/8 of a mile to pace. Some Stars Shine Brighter still there on the inside. Bombay Buddy just to his outside. These two nose to nose coming down the stretch. On the outside, Bombay Buddy may stick a nose in front. Some Stars Shine Brighter fighting back, but Bombay Buddy will get up to win it by a length. Some Stars Shine Brighter holds on for second. Stars With You third. Time for the mile, 1:59, 1/5.
Another good race, David, in the books.
Yeah. You know, I was standing up during this race and kind of scanning the grandstand, and I saw an individual to my left who was actually mimicking tapping the horse, turning for home, like they actually had the whip in their hand. So people are out today enjoying the fair here at the Logan County Fair, in the grandstand, getting into the races, which is always good to see.
Another beautiful day for harness racing.
Really, all the fairs but maybe 2 have had really good weather. I think Rushville had a downpour, and the fair board put off the races for a few hours and got the track ready. And I think Henry canceled because of rain. But besides that, it's been pretty good weather so far.
We haven't actually had a sweat box where we were absolutely miserable. Closest was when we were in the sun in Carlinville.
Yeah, and you know, Springfield was racing the last week, Thursday and Friday schedule, and they got caught racing on those 100 and whatever it was days. I think they pushed races up an hour just to try to get the horsemen out of the heat and the horses out of the sun and all that kind of stuff. So we've been pretty fortunate on our broadcast. The fairs we've been at have been pretty nice weather. Big mile though.
Absolutely.
59 and 1, you know. Jamaica just had a great trip, sitting on the leader's back.
Any other, like you said before, you've got a couple of
And
young
now
men
returning
out
to
there.
the winner's circle, here is Bombay Buddy. Bombay Buddy, a 3-year-old gelding by Major Bombay out of the Arts Place mare Mystical Art. Bred by the Fair Meadow Farm. Owned by D&J Racing Stables of Terry, Mississippi. Trained and driven to victory here today by Jamaica Patton. This is the first seasonal and third lifetime win for Bombay Buddy, who took a mark a year ago at 2:02 and 2, lowers that by over 3 seconds today to 1:59 1/5. Congratulations to all the connections of Bombay Buddy, our winner here in race 5.
And David, again, one man doesn't train horses. A couple of young men that were there helping.
I wish I knew who they were.
Our winner in race 5, Don Yarbrough. Don Yarbrough, congratulations. That selection of Bombay Buddy has won you $10. Also, I am told that our winner in race 4, Rowan Fink, who correctly selected Major Rosita, has not claimed your prize. So, Rowan Fink, please see the folks at the table in the center of the grandstand. Fifth race results are now official. Some Stars Shine Brighter finished second. Bombay Buddy, your winner. Stars With You was third. The quarter in 31 seconds flat. The half in 1:02 2/5. 3/4 in 1:31 flat. Time for the mile, 1:59 1/5. Snappy last quarter there of 28 and 1 for Bombay Buddy as race 5 checks down 2-1-3 on the bottom. Race 6 is the Illini 3-year-old filly trot. Field of 4 will head to the gate. No changes to report at this time.
Lisa's, again, getting a great shot back there. You can see on your screen right now, Mike Cox, just playing with his, looks like his grandson there. He's in his arms. I think that's his wife over there behind the bleachers. Can't tell if that's his son Dylan behind the tree or who that is, but they're out there, just making memories. And that we talk about the history in the community and the family aspect. and that's what it looks like. You know, we all travel around this summer long, and we all kind of live in these fairs. So.
And again, Mike Cox, if I remember the story right from yesterday, just getting back behind the
I
car.
can't remember when it was that accident happened, but he spent quite a long time in the hospital. I think out in Colorado. Managed to get home, and he became I think he's a correctional officer, and picked up driving again here in the last couple of years. And it's having fun, and making memories, and getting out there and doing what he loves. He trained for the Walker family of Fox Valley for a long time, or for a while there. So, he's been in this game. He knows it. He's done a lot of it, and to share that with his family, just must just feel great to him.
And when Lisa gets you shots of the grandstands,
glad to have you with us here today at the Logan County Fair for the final day of harness racing in 2023. Lots to see and do all week here, as the fair will continue through the weekend. Tomorrow night, right here in the grandstand at 6:30, you'll have...
Okay, we'll turn that down because he's doing what's here in the grandstand. But as you look at the shots Lisa gives you from the grandstand, yes, you see some older people here. But look at the kids. Look at the, people bringing their grandkids and great-grandkids to the fair. And we're starting to see some younger people. Of course, we see more younger people in the evening races.
Yep.
And you'll see them, particularly in Brown County, you'll see them walking around with a deck of cards. And so within their own family, in their own box or the boxes around them, they're all, and do you know how that all works? Because I've never figured out how the card thing works.
It ties to the horse's number. So if there's, let's say there's 4 horses in this race, we put the ace, 2, 3, 4 in a pile, and we just shuffle them, and you draw your card. And with the different suits, you can have 4 people have the same horse per se if you have a big group, but you just draw the horse, and it takes the guesswork out of it. It gives you something to root for, something to follow along on the track, and a story to kind of pay attention to, and not just looking at horses going in a circle, but kind of what to look for and what you're who to keep your eye on.
Absolutely, and for those people that like betting, wagering, maybe not for cash or whatever.
Yeah.
That is kind of reminiscent of if you've ever been in an NCAA pool for the national championship. You get whatever card you draw or whatever team you draw, and it allows you, guess what, multiple times in a night to be up or down or sideways or whatever.
It gives you something to be invested in. You have to, that's the biggest problem we have in the sport right now is the general public is not invested whatsoever in standardbred harness racing across the country. It's very minimal, and it's our job to try to promote and to show that there's entertainment, there's investment, there's value here. And if we can share some of the stories, the personal stories, and bring this to you on a personal level, I think you'll understand that just how amazing this group is.
And understand, folks, this is a skill. Number one, driving these horses is a skill. Training the horses is a skill. But you're training a horse to pace or to trot, which is not what they naturally would do.
At speeds, at different coming,
I'm trying to think of the guy's name, and you won't be able to help me on this. In the 60s and the 70s, that there was that walk-run thing where you couldn't run.
Oh, speed walking.
Speed walking.
Yeah.
And it's an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the guy's name was Dave Waddle. That sticks in my mind. What a name for that kind of thing. But you cannot get into a trot. If you get into a trot, you're like disqualified or got to drop back just like you do here. So you're doing something in a race. Your natural thing is to go as fast as you possibly can, and you don't care what style of running. We're training horses to pace and
stay
to
on
trot.
a specific gait. And very once in a while you'll see a horse that'll dictate, it was bred to be a pacer, but it just wants to trot. And so the trainer will convert it over to the trot and race it on the trot. So you can see these horsemen aren't just buying these horses, slapping a card on, and coming out here to these fairs for these purses. Every one of these horses on the track is 4 years in the making. And what I mean by that is these horses at Cereals were purchased the fall before as yearlings and developed for 6-8 months before they ever see a track. So these investors are putting in money and time to these animals. It's really kind of crazy how long it is, because we talk about breeding. We have an Illinois program based on the Department of Ag to help promote this program in the state, this industry, and Lost my track of my thought there. I was looking at something over there, but
Okay, well, we'll go back to your track announcer. We'll be back.
I didn't hear him. That's what I heard, yeah.
15. And the 4, Ms. Josie, also victorious as a 2-year-old last season at Petersburg in 2:17 and 4. So all of these have found the winner's circle before, but Luling City the only one to have a victorious effort thus far in 2023. Last call for the pick-a-winner selections for race 6. Starter has called the Philly Trotters to the gate. RNK's Little Miss Ann, Frontier Cheryl, Luling City, and Ms. Josie in behind the gate, and the gate is rolling. Here they come. And they're off and trotting. Nice even start here for the Phillies. Middle of the racetrack, Luling City eases out for Jerome Daniels and looks for an early lead. Down along the inside, R&K's Little Miss Annie looking for position. And Frontier Cheryl also left and has now slid into the second spot. Ms. Josie will get away in fourth as they roll down the backstretch, led by Luling City. The DeJarmbro filly, a winner 5 times already this year, will look for number 6 on the front end for Jerome Daniels. She takes him past the quarter-mile marker, 2 lengths clear of Frontier Cheryl. RNK's Little Miss Annie third, Ms. Josie fourth. They were off the quarter in 32 1/5 seconds. Still led by Luling City, now clear by about 3. That's Frontier Cheryl in second. Right behind that one, RNK's Little Miss Ann. Ms. Josie behind that one in fourth. The field just a bit strung out as they come past the grandstand the first time. Luling City heads them past the half-mile marker. 3 lengths back to Frontier Cheryl. That's still RNK's Little Miss Ann in third. Ms. Josie fourth. They're off the half in 1:03 2, a 31 2 second quarter. And Luling City comfortably in control to this point. Now about 4 clear of Frontier Cheryl. RNK's Little Miss Ann still there. In third, Ms. Josie fourth. They're still in line, rolling down the backstretch. And now Jerome Daniels asked for a bit more out of Luling City, and she's opened up by about 7 as they reach the 3/4 mile marker. Luling City, the one to beat. Frontier Cheryl still there in second. RNK's Little Miss Ann third. They were off 3/4 in 1:34 4. And now with 1/8 of a mile to trot, Luling City has opened up on this field. The battle will be for second as Jerome Daniels, the hottest driver of the day, looking for win number 4 on this card, and Luling City is going to get it for him. Battle on for second. Frontier Cheryl still there, tight for third, as R&K's Little Miss Ann will hang on over Ms. Josie fourth. Time for the mile, 2:03 3/5.
Back with you in a fine race there for you as we get the results put in for you for that race. But a 2:03, not a bad mile there for this race. Winner of this race is Luling City, a Jerome Daniels horse, followed by the number 2, Frontier Cheryl, and the number 1 finishing third, RNK's Little Miss Annie, and then the 4 horse finishing fourth in that race. That's an unofficial standings there, but to get them back out there for you and the times out there for you, and To be honest with you, I'm going to let David talk about that as I take a break. You
That's
took a break.
fine, yeah.
And you can pop out of whatever screen you want to here, David.
I'll do my best over here. I missed most of that mile. I had to run to the little boys' room, but as expected, I thought Jerome had this. This is a nice horse. Luling City, a 3-year-old filly by DeJarmbro. She's been tough around the fair circuit. He's 3 for 3 coming into this race, and then off a second place finish at Martinsville before that. This horse is all right. Jerome.
And here is our winner in race 6, Luling City, 3-year-old filly by DeJarmbro. Out of the balanced image mare, It's Just a Fling. This one also bred by the Fairmeadow Farm. Jerome Daniels, your winning owner, trainer, and driver here in race 6. 4 wins, driving wins on the day for Jerome. Picks up his first training win and owning win as well. On a very nice filly who lowers or ties her lifetime mark of 203-3 here today at the Logan County Fair. 6th seasonal and 11th lifetime win already for this 3-year-old filly. So congratulations to all the connections of Luling City, our winner here in race 6.
Yeah, like
results
Josh,
are official in the 6th race. The 1, RNK's Little Miss Ann, was 3rd. 2, Frontier Cheryl finished 2nd. Luling City, your winner. And the 4, Ms. Josie, finished 4th. The quarter in 32-1. The half, 103-2. 3 quarters, 134-4. Time for the mile, 203-3/5. Race 6 checks down 3-2-1, 4 on the bottom. Our pick-a-winner in race 6, Wendell Kendrick. Wendell Kendrick, congratulations. You're a $10 winner. There he is down in the center of the grandstand, appears. Nice going with that correct selection of Luling City here in race 6. Upcoming race 7, the Illini 3-year-old Colton Gelding Trot. Make the driver on the 4, You Ain't No Fool, Mike Cox. Mike Cox will drive the 4 in our upcoming 7th race.
And we're back on Harness Tube. It's David Brink here. I want to go ahead and try to do double duty here and run Steve's shop too, but I want to give a big shout out to Jerome Daniels. He's having a good day. As Josh mentioned, 4 wins. If you follow us around, you'll see drivers having big days, Wyatt or Jamaica or not. Really happy to see Jerome getting some catch driving wins out here. Jerome's a hardworking guy. He moved up from from Mississippi to Illinois probably 15 years ago, maybe. Has it stable over there at the state fairgrounds and really travels all over, kind of as a pretty small mom and pop type training stable, and has had a nice little luck here with this Luling City filly. She's a nice thing. Like Josh was saying, hopefully he has some high hopes for her. But we can move on. I'll figure this out eventually. So I'm trying to run Steve's shop from my spot too, and we'll see how. Perfect. We're back to the live shot of it from the camera. There's nothing on the screen yet, but here comes Steve, so I'm going to get out of his way. It's good to see, Lisa and Steve followed us around this fairs all summer long, and Lisa doesn't know a stranger. She's talking to some child, some baby, I think, down there in a couple of rows who she had on camera earlier. Meeting the people. We talk about the people who are involved, the people who come out to these things. You learn who they are, how they're connected. And when that web is put together, you see the whole picture of how this sport and this industry, weaves itself into our everyday lives in weird little ways. But Lisa doesn't definitely know a stranger.
Okay, David,
yeah, we're back.
I'm back, so let's do a quick commercial.
Perfect.
As Lisa's taking a break also.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate, we've changed the way the business works.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
Come join us for the 25th annual Illini Classic Yearling Sale to be held on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield. Over 180 yearlings will be offered, including many by leading sires across the Midwest, as well as several by first crop stallions. It's one of our strongest catalogs ever. Find your next champion at the Illini Classic Yearling Sale, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, beginning at 11 a.m. Central.
Midwest Harness Report has been a strong advocate and comprehensive source for harness racing in the Midwest and beyond for over 40 years. With owner-editor Tim Conkle leading the way, Midwest Harness Report brings you the latest news, information, schedules, and stats. Uncover remarkable stories about the people and horses at the core of harness racing. Midwest Harness Report reaches thousands of subscribers every month. For advertising and subscription inquiries, call 765-212-1320 or visit MidwestHarnessReport.com.
Trained by Roshan Trigg, Mike Cox in the sulky.
We missed the post parade there. I can go ahead and run through the four horses if we have time without Josh.
This
stepping
field.
On. Oh, there it was.
Appears to be pretty well matched. The two Kinky Paco looking for a first lifetime win here today. The other three have all found the winner's circle already this year. Judge Me Not, a two-time winner around the county fair circuit, took a mark of 207 flat at the Menard County Fair at Petersburg a few weeks back. Comes in off a win at Lewiston. Looking for 3 in a row here today. YF Peanut on the board in 7 of 8, including a win at Knoxville earlier in the year in 204-2 fists. The 4, You Ain't No Fool, 9-time winner in his career, including 3 already on the season. This one took a mark a year ago at Springfield of 2 minutes and 1/5 at age 2. Won at Decatur this year in 204-3. Comes in off a 208-1 score at Lewiston. So this field well matched in the 7th race, and starter Mitchell Titus has called him to the gate. Judge Me Not, Jamaica Patton, Kinky Paco, Kevin Bender, YF Peanut, Jerome Daniels, You Ain't No Fool, and Mike Cox. They're lined up behind the gate, and the gate is rolling. Here they come. Kinky Paco on a break. The rest off and trotting on the inside. Judge Me Not left well. Middle of the racetrack, YF Peanut also competing for the lead. You Ain't No Fool will slide into third, and now back trotting Kinky Paco as Judge Me Not and YF Peanut battle it out in the first turn. Now Judge Me Not gets to the front for Jamaica Patton as Jerome Daniels backs off YF Peanut and will take the trip in second. A gap of about 7 or 8 to You Ain't No Fool. And far back to Kinky Paco in fourth as the Trotters have reached the quarter-mile marker. They're led by Judge Me Not by a length and a quarter. They were there in 31 seconds flat. Judge Me Not on top of YF Peanut. Now a tighter third, You Ain't No Fool. Gap of about 20 or so to Kinky Paco in fourth as they come into the stretch the first time. The Can't Afford It gelding. Judge Me Not still on top for Jamaica Patton. YF Peanut getting a good trip there in second. You Ain't No Fool very much in contention in third as they pass a half-mile marker. They were there in 102 1/5, so a 31 1 second quarter, very evenly rated thus far. Judge Me Not looking for seasonal win number 3 here. YF Peanut content to wait in second thus far. You Ain't No Fool also staying in line third. Gap far back to Kinky Paco in fourth. As they roll on toward the 3/4 mile marker, it's still Judge Me Not on top, now clear by about 2. YF Peanut will need more for Daniels, and now tipping the outside, You Ain't No Fool. They're off 3/4 and 133 1/5. It's Judge Me Not, who's now opened up by about 3. You Ain't No Fool has moved into second for Mike Cox and is under a drive as they come into the stretch. But Judge Me Not and Jamaica Patton appear to have this well in hand. One last try from You Ain't No Fool, but Judge Me Not's going to get it done. He'll get home a winner by about 4. You Ain't No Fool second, YF Peanut third. Kinky Paco will be fourth. Time for the mile, 2:02 flat.
Right, good race there, David.
It was. Jamaica's having a good day, I guess. That horse, Judge Me Not, coming off 2 wins the last 2 starts, and the second place before that was really kind of hot. You know, it's hard to beat a hot horse who has the confidence and, you know, and the driver has confidence in their animal, you know, kind of get things their way. But it was a good race, like you said. You know, Jerome sat there second and kind of bided his time with a nice horse, that YF Peanut. And Mike Cox made a race out of it. I'd say yesterday the horse was pacing sideways. That horse was trotting sideways coming out of that last turn. Mike had that thing really kind of stretching out. Had the speed, didn't have enough track to get there, I don't think, so he kind of quit driving for the wire. But good race. Jamaica, very skillful, you know, getting there, the fractions you want, grabbing the front end. You have a horse that's comfortable and confident, it makes your job a lot easier.
It absolutely does. And again, absolutely love watching him. We've seen YF Peanut this year, Judge Me Not. You Ain't No Fool, I think we've also seen. I don't know about Kinky Paco. That's the one that wasn't.
Kinky Paco, you know, Kevin Benders is from, I think he lives in Hamilton, but he works over in Keokuk. He races over in Iowa a lot. His family has ties to the Iowa horse racing scene. So
last
I guess we've
in
seen
that
horse
mile
about
59
4 times.
and
Though.
4/5.
Probably.
Last
Or
quarter
3.
in 28
Peter's
and
first,
4.
Knoxville and Rushville.
Yeah.
Impressive effort by Judge Me Not on the front end here today. As this 3-year-old trotter now returning to the winner's circle. Judge Me Not, 3-year-old gelding by Can't Afford It, out of the Cheyenne Spur Mare SH2. This one bred by Ron Phillips of Athens, who also co-owns, along with trainer Jamaica Patton and Sherry Boldovich. Driving and training double for Jamaica Patton here this afternoon as Judge Me Not wins for the 3rd time in 2023 and the 7th time in his career. This one also takes a new lifetime mark here today at the Logan County Fair of 2:02 flat. Congratulations to all the connections of Judge Me Not, our winner of the Illini Colt Association 3-year-old Colt and Gelding Trot here in race 7. 7th race results are official. The 1, Judge Me Not, your winner. 2, Kinky Paco finished 4th. The 3, YF Peanut was 3rd. And the 4, You Ain't No Fool, finished 2nd. The quarter in 31 seconds flat. The half in 1:02 and 1. 3/4 1:33 and 1. Time for the mile 2:02 flat. Race 7 checks down 1-4-3-2 on the bottom.
All right, David, we're going to talk about the Finn family.
Our pick-a-winner winner in race 7, Stuart
the Finn family GoFundMe account to help out with the expenses for the death and funeral and medical expenses for the Finn family and other things that are going to pop up.
Yeah, I mean, it's shaking their life up completely. It'd be hard to ask someone to move on with their life in a situation like this. So hopefully, this money can help offset some bills, maybe give them some time to grieve in their own way the loss of this life.
And again, if you were looking at helping Harness Tube as far as a donation is concerned, we're saying send that money to this account for the GoFundMe account to help this family out. As we are part of this horse racing community, all three of us that work here and so involved with these drivers and families are important. They are our family also.
And been following Richard along this fair season. He I mentioned he's losing his father and wearing his father's colors in memory. That was really cool, of him. But if you remember, like our first couple episodes, we'll call him broadcast. I was calling him Southpaw. He's a left-hander, and his middle initials S, so he's carded as Richard S. Finn. I started calling him Southpaw, and was chatting with him about it, and he said, "Well, that doesn't do respect to Babe and some of the great lefties of all time." So he told me he had a nickname Fastlane. They kind of gave to him down in Oak Grove this year because he's always grabbing the front end so much, and the whole Fastlane Finn was kind of born, and that moniker's kind of taking some steam. It seemed like, I'm not sure, but have been following this individual, Richard himself, an up-and-coming driver, up-and-coming trainer. You just hate this for him.
Yeah, absolutely. As we enter race 8 coming up, we're going to take one of our last breaks for sponsors here. We thank them and our donors who have helped put this on the air. And again, our heart goes out to the Finn family. Thoughts and prayers with that family. We'll be back after these messages.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
Indispensable. Maximum exposure, the best sales marketing tools. The easiest way to sell your horse for top dollar. The wave of the future. Since holding their first sale 20 years ago, OnGate.com has become harness racing's leading marketplace, with over 13,000 registered users buying and selling racehorses and bloodstock through daily online auctions. Browse listings for free and buy your next racehorse at OnGate.com. OnGate. We've changed the way the business works.
Making a first lifetime purse start here today. This one does have 4 qualifiers under his belt. The only 2-year-old in the field won a qualifying race at Springfield just 4 days ago in 2:08 2 fists. Victorious by a head in that effort. The 3 Hawkeye Dewey, 9 starts on the season, 1 second, 3 third-place efforts. Most recently was 3rd at Farmer City in 2:17 and 2. Race timed in 2:02 flat at DuQuoin back in June. So short field here, but all 3 do appear to have a chance to get that first lifetime win here today at the Logan County Fair. Last call for pick-a-winner selections for race 8.
David, as we come to this, anytime you have accidents, tragedy, you look at NASCAR, every time something happened, they try to improve the safety. And I know harness racing is no different, but one of the big things to me that comes to mind that I think, need to get back, and you think about the incidents, I go back to the Bob Decker incident, outriders. And if you're a horse rider in your community and there's a racetrack there, what I wanted you to do is encourage you to get with your harness racing community there and see if you can be the outrider
King
and know
Otis
what you
with
need
Mike
to do.
Brink,
And we'll
Shattered
talk about that more
Dreams, and
next
Scott
break.
Banks, Hawkeye Dewey, and Mike Cox in behind the gate. The gate is rolling. King Otis on a break. Here they come. And they're off and trotting. On the outside, Hawkeye Dewey goes out for the lead. Shattered Dreams will get away in second. Far back, but now trotting, King Otis will get away in third. As Hawkeye Dewey and Mike Cox will lead him into the turn. 2 lengths clear of Shattered Dreams. Big gap back to King Otis in third. As Hawkeye Dewey leads him on to the backstretch the first time. 4-year-old stallion by Cherry Hills. Looking for a first lifetime win here today on the front end. Heads him past the quarter-mile mark. A length and a half clear of Shattered Dreams in second. They're off the quarter in 36 and 2/5 seconds. So a slow opening panel here as Hawkeye Dewey content to set a leisurely pace. 2 lengths in front of Shattered Dreams in second. Far back to King Otis, who appears to be on a break again in the turn. Hawkeye Dewey leads them into the stretch the first time for Mike Cox. Still 2 lengths clear of Shattered Dreams. And Hawkeye Dewey leads him past the half in 1:11 flat. 1:11 flat for the half-mile mark. Hawkeye Dewey, 1 second-place finish and 3/3 thus far in the year. Shattered Dreams, a first lifetime starter. It's a 2-horse race at this point with just over 3/8 of a mile to trot. Hawkeye Dewey still there. Shattered Dreams getting a good trip in second. Far back to King Otis in third as they roll down the backstretch toward the 3/4 mile marker. Shattered Dreams grabbed the lead away from the gate, has had it every step of the way, but a tighter second now. Shattered Dreams as Hawkeye Dewey leads them onto the far turn. They were off 3/4 in 1:44 and 4. It's still Hawkeye Dewey with an 1/8 of a mile to trot. Shattered Dreams tips to the outside for Scott Banks and will try him now as Hawkeye Dewey leads him into the stretch. Shattered Dreams trying hard on the outside. It's still Hawkeye Dewey. Shattered Dreams, one last push. Shattered Dreams getting to him on the outside as they hit the wire. Shattered Dreams appeared to get up by just a head over Hawkeye Dewey. Time for the mile, 2:15 1/5.
David, a close finish on that one. And what was the final?
2:15 and 1 is what I have written down. I was doing some bookkeeping.
I think that's correct.
Congrats to the Banks family, though. And that's an interesting story. Scott, you'll see him programmed as Stanley. Stan was his dad. Stan Banks was a longtime horseman in this state, and his brother Dwight raced on the Chicago circuit for a long time. Scott actually was named, he spelled C-O-T, S-C-O-T, is his name of his spelling of his name. He's named after a horse. Speedy Scott was a standard bred from, generations ago. And his dad was such a fan of that horse that he named his son Scott, S-C-O-T.
Did you get the finish there? Because
Shattered Dreams was the winner. Hawkeye Dewey was second, and King Otis was third.
All right. I was so interested in make sure the replay got played there for people that I wasn't caring how they finished because we weren't going to know for sure.
Speaking of people in the winner's circle, I need to give out shout-outs. I'm not sure, but looking at from the Banks family and who that looks like out there, that might be a Hennert in the ball cap helping the Banks out as a groom. Maybe not. I can't quite tell, but the Hennert family, raced horses up in the Chicago area for a long time too, so stands the reason it could be. But the Banks family, like I said, long-time horseman.
With 2-year-old trotters, quite a bit of patience is needed to get these horses where you want them. Shattered Dreams has already qualified 4 times at Springfield, broke in the first 2 efforts, then was beaten only in nose a couple of weeks ago. Came back just the other day and won by a head. And now today, in a first lifetime purse start, gets a victory in 2:15-1. Shattered Dreams, a 2-year-old can't afford it gelding. The Primrose Lane mare Victory Lane Rose. This one a homebred for the Victory Lane Farm in Marco Island, Florida. Trained and driven to victory here today by Scott Banks. Colt obviously on the improve as the season has gone on. Patient work by Scott Banks to get this one to the races and now to the winner's circle. Sat second the whole way around and then trotted up a storm down the lane. Final quarter there in 30 2/5 to get the win in 2:15-1. Congratulations to all the connections of Shattered Dreams, our winner here in race 8. Our pick-a-winner in race 8, Guy Carter. Guy Carter, congratulations. You are our $10 winner in race 8 for that correct selection of Shattered Dreams. 8th race results are now official. The 1 King Otis did not finish. The 2 Shattered Dreams, your winner. The 3 Hawkeye Dewey finished second. The quarter was in 36-2. The half 111 flat. 3 quarters 144-4. Time for the mile 2:15-1/5. Race 8 checks down DNF 1-2 on the bottom.
Yeah.
Our 9th race finale is up next. 2-year-old open trot. There is a driver change to note in the 9th race. That on the 3, Small Town Southern Boy, Mike Cox will drive. Mike Cox to drive the 3, Small Town Southern Boy in the 9th race finale.
Yoder Custom Woodworking was started in 1995 by the Yoder family as a retail Amish furniture store in Sullivan, Illinois. They offer custom kitchen cabinets, granite and quartz countertops, built-in office and bathroom cabinetry, and offer a wide range of Amish furniture. Their store is located at 1117 West Jackson Street in Sullivan, Illinois, with store hours Tuesday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturday 9 to 3. For more information, contact Yoder Custom Woodworking at 217-728-2166.
Come join us for the 25th annual Illini Classic Yearling Sale to be held on Labor Day, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield. Over 180 yearlings will be offered, including many by leading sires across the Midwest, as well as several by first crop stallions. It's one of our strongest catalogs ever. Find your next champion at the Illini Classic Yearling Sale, Monday, September 4th at the Illinois State Fairgrounds, beginning at 11 a.m. Central.
time start. Lori Searle down in the winner's circle along with Gigi the dog, I see. As Broadway Lassie gets a win in the first lifetime start here in 2:14 flat. Congratulations to all the connections of Broadway Lassie, our winner in race 9. Results are official. The 1, Fawn DeSays, finished second. The 2, Broadway Lassie, your winner. 3, Small Town Southern Boy, finished third. The quarter in 35 seconds flat. The half in 1:08 and 4. 3/4 in 1:42 flat. Time for the mile, 2:14 flat. Race 9 checks down, 2:13 on the bottom. Once again, thank you for your attendance. Harness Racing.
I want to apologize to our viewers. I did not have the pod up for you to hear the track announcer on that last race, or some of the comments that David and I made didn't get on the air because I forgot to push the pod up. You got to see it. Good job by Lisa. But again, pray for the Bob Decker family. Pray for the Finn family. Pray for us as we travel. David, it's been a hard year in horse racing, as we talked about. Richard Finn's father passing away.
Yep.
We had one of our starters pass away.
Bob Groder, yeah.
It's a tough year in harness racing because of some of the passings that we've had.
There's not enough people left in the sport in the state that when something happens, we feel it really, really hard, because we're so close to everybody. It's felt really, really hard. So this has been a year that horsemen can hopefully turn the page on, but we'll get through as we always do. We always try to keep moving forward.
Okay, I want to thank everybody involved. We'll be with you on Wednesday, post time 5:30. We'll be on the air about 5 o'clock. Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
God bless.